Howdy folks, how y'all doing? Hey, it's been a minute, hasn't it? Yeah, I apologize. I basically went blind. I got uveitis in one eye and then it spread to the other, and yeah, I couldn't see for a while. Anywho, got that issue resolved and now we're back to it. Today, well, I'm just showing you what's coming. Today we're going to be looking at a set of bookshelf speakers. But this is part of a larger system. A subwoofer from Dayton Audio. It's a whole 5.1 Dayton Audio surround sound is what I put together here. But I put it together, you know, piece by piece. I didn't buy a kit. Well, you'll see why later on, why I did what I did. But anywho, yeah, this thing just showed up. UPS, gotta love them, huh? Yeah, it's like that every time. Anywho, we got a 12-inch powered sub. I got, because these are so ridiculously cheap, I got 3 sets of those, you know, 2 fit in each box. The 6.5-inch drivers there, the 6.5-inch bookshelf speakers, I should say. And I got the their Air version, with the Air motion transformer tweeter, because, well, I just like them. They're just better. They're really actually my favorite tweeter anymore. But I'm not saying this particular version. We're going to test it and see how exactly it measures up. But you know, I got everything to do a complete surround sound system, including stands. We're going to do a review on that next. And yeah, move along. But yeah, we got a whole system here. I'm going to go through it piece by piece and test each component and do a separate video on each one. And then at the end of it, I'm going to put it in its final resting place, which is going to be in my father-in-law's house. He's elderly, hard of hearing, and that was the point and purpose of this. He's, you know, for his entire life, I mean, all he's ever really known is crap radios, you know, the little crap speaker that's in little portable radios and that kind of stuff. And television speakers. So he has no experience with a proper surround sound system. I didn't want to spend, you know, buku megabucks on a system for him because I don't know exactly how much he's going to use it. But being hard of hearing, as I know he is, watching a lot of TV, as I know he does, this should absolutely fit the bill. So, I mean, we're going to put it through the paces and test it out and set it up and test it out again. But we're going to do it piece by piece scientifically. I'm still going to give you my opinion. I'm still going to tell you what I think personally of each and every component here, but no, the data is going to tell you which side is north. You know what I mean? Don't listen to me. Yeah, I've just got an opinion like everybody else, but unlike everybody else that keeps doing this stuff, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to show you the matter of fact, the actual science, the provable numbers. I can prove what I'm talking about here. Alrighty, now that we're pretty much down to her, don't want to get too far ahead of myself. You know, I have a tendency to do that. Today's video is brought to you by extension cords, because sometimes you need to extendify your power. How else are you going to do it, right? You got extension cords for that job. Yes, extension cords. Anyhow, moving along. You got a box. You got 2 speakers in a box. You get a little pamphlet there, and you get 2 little whatever. You get a little speaker wire. It's baby 22, boy, 20. Yeah, I'm gonna call it 20 gauge. It's some paper thin stuff, cheesy, but you know, what do you want for a nickel? These things were so dirt cheap. $79 a pair, I think, is what I paid for them. A pair. That's $40 a speaker. You know, round it off, break it down. That's what it breaks down to. 40 bucks a speaker. Oh, that's cheap crap price, but what do they sound like? Well, I'll tell you what. Let me show you what I'm going to use to measure, and then we'll continue along here. All right, to start with here, I'm going to be using a mini DSP sound analysis microphone. Don't worry about the rubber band on the end there. I have that there because I hang I hang things and stuff from it. It's got no bearing on sound quality here, but this is a proper sound analysis microphone. It'll run you all of about $100 if you want to get one for yourself. And the software to drive this, or the software that uses this type of stuff, is free. It's absolutely free. I'll put links to everything down in the description. The information is out there. It's just, you know, at a certain point, everybody that's doing these kinds of reviews, it's time to upgrade. That's all I'm saying. You know, talk is talk. This is where the science comes from. This allows you to prove what the damn thing is doing. No talk is required, aside from personal opinion, because that's all that it equals in the end. So you need a sound analysis microphone, and then I have ears. Same company, Mini DSP. Again, I'll put a link to down in the description, but this is how I'm going to allow you to hear these speakers in this room, and it will be equivalent to you actually being here. I can take true binaural sound samples of two speakers playing, you know, at different various positions in this room, and you can hear what it's going to actually sound like. It's going to be the equivalent of you actually being here. So when I talk about something, I can back it up. You know what I mean? It's not personal opinion. You're going to hear exactly what I'm saying. So yeah, those two things. Now this one's going to, you know, the ears are going to run you a couple bucks. That's about $300. Now the specifications on these, I'm sure you've probably already seen them, but I'm just going to go over them once real quick. Like, I'm not even going to take it out of the plastic. I'll just read it to you. They're 40 watts RMS, 75 watts peak or maximum. They're 6 ohm impedance. The rated specifications here, frequency response, is 70 hertz to 20,000 hertz. And their sensitivity is 87 decibels at 1 watt at 1 meter. So, you know, those are the basic important measurements. Everything else is dimensional and weight and kind of meaningless, right? I'll tell you what, first impressions of the things, cheesy. I mean, honest to God, that's what it feels like. You know, just cheese. It doesn't feel like, well, you know what? It feels like what it cost. That's what it feels like. It's got a, you know, a hanger there on the back end, like a picture frame hanger. And, you know, it just, paper thin, everything, paper featherweight, you know, it doesn't weigh a damn thing. Yeah, that's first impressions of it. That's what it feels like. It feels like what I paid. You know what I mean? I mean, that's just the honest to God's truth. But, you know, that doesn't really matter. All that really matters is what does it sound like. So, yeah, that's, hell, let's move along with that, right? I do have, because I bought 6 of these and I only need 5 of them, I do have one that is technically sacrificial. I do have one that, you know, we can take apart and play with it. Let's see if spending another $2 can make, you know, any kind of a realistic improvement. But I have already listened to them, and I got to tell you, I kind of like them. There's potential here. They're full of flaws, but I kind of like them. They're you know, Christ's sake, man, for the $80 for the pair of them. Yeah. It's okay, and I do believe it's fixable. In many ways, it's fixable. Anywho, let's stop talking. Let's start getting into the numbers, because that's the only way I'm going to really be able to back up what I'm about to say next. I took some before measurements. I took a bunch of measurements, which I will show you. Getting there. But now I have on axis, on speaker, and then I have in room, at distance, a couple of different ways I measured. But I saw what I saw, I heard what I heard. Now I want to take one of these apart. Like I said, I have one that's technically sacrificial. I'm not going to break one, but you know, if something bad happens to one, well, that's all right. I do have one that I could, you know, sacrifice. Anyway, I'm going to take it apart. We're going to check out, see what's going on inside of these things. By the looks of it, not a lot of, but I'm going to throw a couple dollars at it and see if we can, you know, make things better or worse. We're going to at least get a sense of direction. That's my game plan here, anywho. Anyway, let me rip some screws out here and get into it. Yeah, I'm seeing what I thought I was hearing, and well, I'm getting what I expected. Let's put it that way. Paper. It's paper. Barely. Oh Christ! Is it 5/16? You know what? Let me grab a caliper quick, and I'll tell you exactly what it is. Zero my caliper here, and that's just 7 mil. I think you can see. If we get her centered and maybe beat the glare just a little. I hope you can see it. I can't see it. Honestly, it's all too small for me. Anyway, 7 mil, which comes out to, I like this, 9/32 of an inch, in case you was wondering. Or, 2/1000 of or 2/100 of an inch there. It's, yeah, it's paper thin. But, what do you want for a nickel? You know what I mean? There's hardly any cost involved in. You get some bang for the buck. I mean, there's some real serious bang for the buck. Let me reposition the camera here, and we'll try and get a little closer inside. Well, I mean, what do you want for a nickel, huh? It's not terrible. It isn't. There's your something like that. There's the crossover. What little bits and pieces there are. Looks like one resistor and one capacitor. No kidding. That's it. Oh, well then, that's all for the tweeter, I'll bet you. Because normally these AMT tweeters are seen as pretty much a short. So you gotta have a little resistance in line. Yeah, well, I want to show you. You gotta have a little resistance with them. Yeah. But anyway, I mean, the tweeter, it's plastic, but it feels like there's a rubberized coating on it. It's yeah, they did a little something to it. My thinking, and I expected exactly this. Nothing. Tissue. Yeah, honestly, I think paper towel would have been better than this. You know what I mean? I have. Well, here, let me show you what I have. All right, here's my basic thinking. I'm seeing what I expected. It's pretty much a hollow box. I bought a little bit of gasket tape, very thin stuff, because I expected this just to be crudely, quickly mounted, stamped steel basket to a paper thin wooden box. I expected that. They're technically sealed enclosures, but I'm gonna make them sealed with a little gasket tape. That should make a difference. Good, bad, or indifferent. Well, I guess we're gonna find out when I retest them again. And then I got. Oh, where are we at? Screw it. I can't get it all in one shot here. It's a big box. 5 pounds of polyfill. Yeah, polyfill. The stuff that they fill, cheap crap pillows with. Stuffed animals, teddy bears, child's toys, those kinds of things. Just, polyfill. It's probably the worst version of sound dampening material that you could use. What would be better? And I mean, if you have it, by all means use it. Fiberglass insulation is better. You do have to be a little careful. Polyfill is paper thin. I mean, it weighs about as much as air. I mean, that's a 5 pound box. That's why the box is so big. You know what I mean? You got to use a lot of it. And what it has a tendency of doing is it makes the box sound bigger. It makes bass hit better, tighter, cleaner. And being a sealed box, I love sealed enclosures. I mean, they're absolutely my favorite. And I still think they're the best out there. And you know it because I've just told you my opinion. And that's the problem. It's my opinion. It's what I like. It may not be what all of you guys like. I know a lot of you guys really like ported subs, and I frickin' hate them. Once you hear that port noise, you can't stop hearing it. So again, opinions don't matter. I'm giving you mine, but what matters in the end here for you to base any kind of a judgment behind your computer screen or TV or however you're watching this, look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie, right? The numbers are just what they are. So yeah, that's what I'm doing here. I'm going to stuff the thing full of polyfill. I'm going to actually seal with a little gasket tape these speakers into place, and I'm going to run exactly the same test, exactly the same way, and note the difference. I expect there will be something, but this is literally like the $2 that I'm willing to throw at it. You know, you could get more involved with a crossover, because clearly they ain't got nothing going on there. They're just doing a little, you know, first order on this tweeter. That's all that is. A resistor, you know, so the receiver doesn't see a short, and then you know what I mean, a little cap there to block some of the bass. It doesn't get much cheesier than that. And of course the question will be, how much polyfill to use? About that much. You know, it's in there. I gave, you know, just enough room for the driver, but it's feeling kind of dense. I'm starting to feel resistance. You know, it's not, there's something there now. You know what I mean? Air moves on both sides of the speakers. So that's, well, that's the point. When you dampen this, you dampen different resonances. You can dampen some of the resonance that comes from the speaker, and you can dampen some of the resonance that comes from the box. Yeah, sound works in funny ways, and it, you know, it moves on both sides of the speaker. Now, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to use this gasket tape, like I showed you earlier, and yeah, we're going to actually, well, we're going to give it the old college try here, at really actually sealing these drivers in place, and kind of go from there. And looks a little something like that. Not the nicest tape lay I've ever done in my life, but you know, it's going to do its job. Nicely going to seal these up, I believe. I put the tweeter in, obviously. That was fun. That was tight. I maybe should have shown that before I did it. I ran the foam, yeah, gasket tape stuff like along this edge, like standing up along this edge, and then just let it kind of pull it in and sit and settle where it wanted to go from that point. Putting it down flat, man, that tweeter's a tight fit. The whatever, the CNC machine that they, you know, cut all this stuff out with definitely did its job. So there's not a lot of wiggle room, but yeah, I think it's fine. Well, I know it's going to be fine. Is it going to sound any different? I don't know. I noticed it does seem to be a little bit recessed, the tweeter face to the front baffle here. It's, hopefully you're seeing some of that. Putting that gasket tape in there picked it up a touch. So it's a little more flush now with the front. Is that going to make a difference? I don't know. That's why we're going to test it. So yeah, I'm going to, there's nothing more to show and tell here. I'm just going to put this driver back in and get on with the testing. It's about that time to get on with the testing and the measurements here. Talking all about them numbers. This is actually my favorite part of, well, speaker testing, I guess you could say. I enjoy listening to and I enjoy testing. But, all right, let's move along here. What I've done, I did before and then I did after measurements. And I did on speaker and then I did in room at distance. And let me just break that down for you guys. This, sorry, that's my cat sneezing. Poor guy. He's got a nose full of snot right now. Anyway, yeah, this is the tweeter on axis on speaker, and I'll throw a picture of it right in here so you can, well, you can see exactly how I physically measured this. I ran it full range, 20 to 20, and yeah, this is what the tweeter's doing when you're practically kissing the damn thing with a microphone. You know what I mean? This is what it looks like, and that looks like crap. It just does. It doesn't start. Oh, and also I measured everything at 80 decibels. Everything was set using pink noise to 80 decibels. So that's how all measurements were taken here. On axis, on speaker, 80 decibels, full sweep, 20 to 20, and yeah, there you go. So that is pretty ugly. I know. I don't like it either. This is what the woofer looks like. Same thing, on axis, on speaker, kissing the damn thing. And again, 20 to 20. Well, I don't think I ran this to 20. Not this one. I didn't, clearly. Yeah, I stopped somewhere around 5 or 6. But, I mean, normally you want a little extra down here on the low end. But no, I'm not hearing it. I'm telling you, I don't hear that. When you get it up against a wall, this starts to stand out to you. You can hear it then. But, I mean, just on speaker, put it in the middle of the room, play some music, stuff that you really know. Man, I mean, I'm measuring it. It's there, but I'm not hearing it. Anyway, that's what the woofer looks like. On speaker, on axis, 80 decibels. Now, things change a bit here when you sum them together and you start getting some room modes involved. Like here, I took a measurement at 3 feet away from the speaker. In my room, again, 20 to 20. And yeah, it's looking a whole lot different now, right? You're still seeing this bump down here on the low end against the wall, which is where I have the speaker, and using the speaker boundary reinforcement and whatnot, because I'm right up against that wall. Yeah, now I can hear this. I mean, it's there. But that's I mean, these speakers just don't have no guts down low until you get them up close against a wall. Then they wake up quite a bit for you, or at least they have for me. And now these are all just out of the box as the speakers are measurements. But anyway, this is the speaker from 3 foot away from it, and the microphone was centered between woofer and tweeter. So yeah, this is what it starts to look like in my room. And then I took another one here at 6 feet away. Kind of the same story with a different tune, though, right? Yes. This is why talking about is so futile. I can tell you what I hear and what I like and what I don't, but you just got to see the numbers. We all need the numbers, and this is universal. I don't care if you're Chinese or Russian or English or British. Everybody can look at this and understand it, right? That's why I'm a numbers man. I just am. Breaks all language barriers right here. I'm talking to the world, and the world can understand this. So yeah, this is out of the box. This is what it looks like. This is what it does, and it changes more with greater distance. But I stopped here at 6 foot. When I do when I play the samples for you, and I do have some music samples that I will play. I said it somewhere here. I'm doing everything out of time, so I can't remember what I said where. I gotta throw this all together into one cohesive video, hopefully. Anyway, when I do those samples, you're gonna get more of my room, but I'm doing it 8 feet away from both speakers, and you will get a stereo sample because I'm running both speakers, and you're 8 foot away from both of them. In case I don't say it later, I just said it here. All right, I will at this point now show you how they measure after modifications. And let me open that one up here. Things changed a bit. It was worth the couple of dollars and cents that I spent on the things. It really was. After. Okay, this should be. Well, here, let's do it like this. Show you everything in one shot. That way we can do a proper comparison. Let's get just the tweeter. Tweeter. There we go. All right. Now, I didn't expect much from sealing it and stuff in the box and whatnot, but the same exact test, same exact way, on speaker, on axis, right up on the thing, kissing it. You know what I mean? Before and after poly. This blue line here is after the modification. That's with gasket and polyfill, and this one is before gasket and polyfill. Yeah, there's a difference. I mean, it's only a couple decibels in a couple of areas, but it's a difference. It definitely it changed a couple things there. Is it worth it? No, not there. I wouldn't think so anyway. I mean, I wouldn't go through the effort just for this little bit of difference. But let me show you what the woofer did. Before and after. There we go. Same deal. Before and after polyfill. What the woofer did after polyfill is we get a little bit more bass, and it's a lot smoother. This drop off here, you know, it digs a little bit deeper, and it plays smoother. This before polyfill is all choppy. This blue line here, chop, chop, chop. Well, it's not choppy after that. We cleaned up some resonance, probably both cabinet and cone. And what I find interesting, I don't know what this is all about. We got like a phase reversal right there. I don't know what that is all about. I really don't. But before polyfill, we had a peak there, and after polyfill, we have a dip. It's like a cancellation. Something, yeah, it's like a cancellation's happening. But the green line is after polyfill, and that is a definite improvement. Down here where we have a giant hole, now the green line is a whole lot less of a giant hole. But yeah, so I mean, I would spend a little time and effort here for the stuffing in the gasket. It would make a perceived difference, and it did. I mean, you can physically see it. Where it was bad before, it's better. It's still bad, yeah. It is what it is. You can't shine poop; it only smears. But these do tune up. You can tune this up. You can go a whole lot better even with digital EQ, and I do that later on, which I'll get into. But all right, so that's what the woofer did, and now look at it on the 3 foot away from the speaker after the polyfill. And where's my thing? Here, before and after. There we go. After the polyfill, it's a little smoother, right? There's a difference there. There's a greater balance point. And again, everything was set at 80 decibels. Everything was measured exactly the same way. Same on axis, same distances, and this is the 3 foot away from speaker. Now keep in mind, this speaker is up against that wall. I'm getting the speaker boundary reinforcement from that wall and, all that jazz. But that's what's highlighted there is after the polyfill, and what's highlighted there was before polyfill. So yeah, it's not as pretty as you would want it to look like, but it's better. It's a little smoother. It's not quite as a wild and radical swings. It's a little flatter here in the middle. And is it worth it? Yeah, I think it is, because I could hear the difference. There was a difference. I didn't know exactly what had changed, specific frequencies, but I could tell there was a difference because I had A's and B's. I could literally hear it. Playing one that was modified and playing one that wasn't. There's definitely a change, and you can hear it. For the $2, $5, whatever, for a little bit of gasket and polyfill, yeah, it's worth it. I would do that. And then let's take a look at the 6 foot. Zow. And Zow. Yeah, for whatever reason, I don't think these didn't line up all that well, did they? Man, they're not getting any closer than that. I had them all at 80 decibels. I don't know what changed here, but they're almost mirror images of one another. There's a little difference here. It's it's a tough call on this one. You're getting more of my room involved with the 6 foot measurement because, well, you're getting further away from the speaker, right? So you're going to hear a lot more of the room and all of that effect. But that's after the modification, and that's before the modification. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's that's certainly nothing pretty at all. They're almost mirroring one another. Almost made no difference. But we can see after polyfilm a little hotter here in the 600 to 800 hertz range. I got a couple of camel humps there, and pick your poison, right? We got a little dip here around 3K where we didn't have it before. Yeah, like I said, I mean, things were changing. There was definitely some dampening that happened. Now, what I want to show you here real quick, that's basically, the speaker themselves in the room. I want to show you what it looks like after, the before and after with the waterfall here. Look at what the polyfill actually did. Let me bring them up real quick now. We're going to just look at on speaker. 3 foot, no, 3 foot. Come on, Michael, pay attention. Yeah, let's look at the tweeter here. Okay, here we go. The waterfall here. We're looking at ringing. We're looking for ringing. See all these peaks down here? That's ideally in an ideal world with an ideal speaker, you wouldn't want to see that. You'd like this to drop off, and just stop, like right there. When you see peaks like this, that means there's noise that's still playing. It's not. It's probably not in the music. It's not being commanded to do it. There's just a resonance, or there's stored energy. Let's put it that way. That's how that would break down. It takes, sometimes it takes a minute for sound to dissipate, right? I mean, think of how long an echo takes to dissipate in a very reverberish type of room, right? It takes time for sound to dissipate. But this is ringing. It's ringing pretty good here, like around 1,000 hertz. Right here around 727 hertz. 1,300 hertz. 14. Where was I? 13. Yeah, 1,400 hertz there, and you got some more up here around 2.7 kilohertz. That's what it did before I stuffed it with polyfill. And this is what it did after. Now, I didn't run this sweep as low, and I didn't realize that I should have done exactly the same thing. I mean, that's before polyfill, right? And that's after polyfill. I mean, it looks a little cleaner, but then again, it's not as... I didn't run the sweep as low as I did on the other one. I wish I had. I didn't realize that I didn't do that. Anyway, that's after polyfill. I clearly only ran from 1,000 to 20,000 here, on axis, on speaker, but that's after polyfill, and that's before polyfill. So if you're only looking from 1,000 up, follow this white line. And the difference between, that and that, that and that. It did make a difference, right? I mean, it looks visually different anyway. Yeah, dampening. Now, I don't believe for a second this had anything to do with the polyfill. It would have had more to do with the gasket material, dampening the box in that very specific location, and two, moving the tweeter a little bit higher, right? It didn't sit in the front baffle as low after the gasket material was installed as it did before the gasket material. So, there's a couple things going on there. But, that's what the tweeter looks like. And then the woofer, let's do before and after. The woofer, running from 20 to 20, you can see there's a horrible freaking peak right here. And this is probably what's causing some of that boost and whatnot on the bottom end, right around 100 hertz. Well, this is showing up at 120, but it's a hell of a resonant spike there. It's quite the king of noise right there, or resonance. But ideally, in an ideal world, you wouldn't want that, right? But this is what it looks like after polyfill. Before polyfill, lots of ringing. after polyfill. So, I mean, we still got this one major problem here, which, you know, that's probably in the speaker cone itself. There's nothing I'm going to be able to do about that. Maybe tune it out a little, but otherwise, I mean, there's just something mechanical going on with the speaker. That's I'm sure that's what's causing that. But, you know, look at all the ringing, you know, before and after. Before polyfill and gasket material, and after polyfill and gasket material. Again, this is worth the $2 or $5, you know, worth of you know what I mean. Little bit of attention to detail here cleans it up quite a bit. I mean, you're getting under 50 decibels. You know, you're going to be, especially when you're playing at 80, you're never going to hear this. But you know, when you start getting up here around 65 decibels, and you're playing at 80, you know what I mean. Certain things might really stand out to you. But anyway, point I was trying to prove here is that polyfill and that gasket material definitely made a nice improvement. And it didn't cost much, you know, time is basically what you're gonna have invested into it. Because poly is cheap and the gasket material is cheap, and there you go. All right, so that's gonna wrap up the measurement section here. I don't think I really have anything important to show or talk about, at least here. This video is already pretty long, but I'm trying to be thorough. I'm trying to do for you what I wish everybody would do for me. When I sit down and I watch a speaker video, I need this stuff. I need it. So I'm just trying to do it all, you know, my way for you guys. And I hope you enjoy it. I hope you appreciate it. Do the thumbs and the subscribes and the bells and the whistles and all that crap too. That lets me know. Anywho, moving along. Well, it's a boot that time. Ready for some A's, B's comparisons, and I'm going to do that proper, hopefully, as best as I can, with some binaural acoustical in this room, real world sound measurements. I've got that Onkyo receiver that's going to be driving everything right there. Too dark, I can't see it. TXNR656 is what that is. That's going to be driving the whatever, that Dayton audio there, and that Dayton audio there, and my JBLs, they're not doing anything. That's powered by a totally different receiver, which is turned off. So yeah, I mean, this is my living room. This is the space I have to work with, and it's well, hey, it is what it is, right? So this is how I'm going to show and tell. I'm going to be doing it using ears, like I said before, mentioned before. That is set up mid-height. Hopefully it looks that way to you on camera. It's positioned like the ears are almost, you know, right in line where the, well, whatever, in between the tweeter and the main woofer there. So, oh, and they are 8 feet from, yeah, speaker. Each ear is 8 foot away from each speaker. So the left speaker here, 8 foot away, right speaker there, 8 foot away. And we're going to, whatever, play a whole bunch of sound samples here is what we're going to do. I have, I put together some stuff. It's all, hey, I got the rights to it, okay? So Google, I'm talking to you now. Google, stop flagging my crap, okay? You're pissing me off. I have the rights to this stuff. You lose the battle every time you challenge me. Just, okay, AI, whatever Google AI is listening to this, I own the rights to these songs, so leave me alone. That's all I'm trying to say. Christ's sake. Anywho, I got some musical, some with vocals, and I'm going to do A's and B's as best I can here. These are the ones that I modified. I put the packing material in there, the polyfill, and I sealed them acoustically, you know, properly, hopefully, as best I could anyway, for spending a dime on them. I'm going to play them as they are. You're going to hear that, and then also I'm going to use the subwoofer down there, which when I turn that on, I guess I'll show you what that's all about. It's also the Dayton audio sub. There's a 12-inch sub down there. But I want you to hear this before and after modifications, and then I'm also going to play the original audio file as I downloaded it. These are high quality recordings as they are high quality original files. Everything is 48 kilohertz at 20-bit depth. So, you know, it's as good as it really needs to be for you to tell any, you know, any kind of difference. But these I'm going to play EQ'd flat, which I have them digitally equalized to, you know, almost dead flat. They're incredible. What I was able to get out of them, and the other ones, when I do an A/B side by side on those, I will have them just out of the box, just as they are. Everything's set to 0. Nothing's going to be played with or modified, so you can hear exactly what they sound like out of the box, and then you can hear what they sound like after a little bit of modification and tuning, and then you're going to hear what they sound like with modification, tuning, and a subwoofer. It's going to be a little bit involved, but hey, I'm spending the time, so I hope you spend the time and finish the video. It's the only way you're going to know which side is up with these things. So, all right, enough talking. Let's start making some real noise, huh?
give up control. Hope falls from the sky as I lift up my hands and speaking river. Time slips out of my hands, so I'll give up control. Hope falls from the sky as I lift up my hands and speaking reverence, speaking reverence till the end of days. I'll be yours forever, never hesitate to walk the miles together, sharing mystery. Time slips out of my hands, so I'll give up control. Hope falls from the sky as I lift up my hands and speaking reverence, speaking reverence till the end of days. I'll be yours forever, never hesitate to walk the miles together, sharing mystery. The rain falls. it's clear to me we miscommunicated. You equivocated. You've already moved on, I'm alone and so damn jaded. And I hate it, 'cause all I needed was a simple yes or no. How would I know? All you gave me, maybe, baby, how'd I know if you never showed? She's pretty and she's fair with long brown wavy hair, the new girl on your arms. How dare you come around saying we fell out of touch? It was you who messed up. 'Cause all I needed was a simple yes or no. How would I know? Now it's clear to me we miscommunicated. You equivocated. You've already moved on, I'm alone and so damn jaded. And I hate it, 'cause all I needed was a simple yes or no. How would I know? All you gave me, maybe, baby, how'd I know if you never showed? She's pretty and she's fair with long brown wavy hair, the new girl on your arms. How dare you come around saying we fell out of touch? It was you who messed up. 'Cause all I needed was a simple yes or no. How would I know? 'Cause all you gave me, maybe, baby, how'd I know if you never showed? And after all this time, I still think of you as the one who got away. But you were never mine, and I know it's time that I face reality. And after all this time, I still think of you as the one who got away. But you were never mine, and I know that it's time to face reality. 'Cause all I needed was a simple yes or no. How would I know? 'Cause all you gave me, maybe. Now it's clear to me we miscommunicated. You equivocated. You've already moved on, I'm alone and so damn jaded. And I hate it, 'cause all I needed was a simple yes or no. How would I know? All you gave me, maybe, baby, how'd I know if you never showed? She's pretty and she's fair with long brown wavy hair, but you were never mine. And I know it's time that I face reality. And after all this time, I still think of you as the one who got away. But you were never mine, and I know that it's time to face reality. 'Cause all I needed was a simple yes or no. And what I know, 'cause all you gave me, baby, how would I know if you never showed? Just say yes, just say
Well, it's kind of something like that. I just finally finished modifying, packing, and sealing that very last speaker there. So all 6 of them now, yeah, all tuned up, all modified with 2 cents worth of product. And I got this giant box of polyfill here. It was brand new when I started, and well, still looks brand new if you ask me. Yeah, this yeah, well, that's just the way it is. You know, this stuff doesn't weigh nothing. It's about as light as air. So it takes a lot, and I put a lot in. I really did. I packed them. I mean, they're you know, hey, they're packed. And yeah, really didn't make a dent in the box. So, all right, nothing to do yet, I guess, except I already did all the measurements before and after. I got all my sound samples. I guess we got to set up, give you my final thoughts and opinions, and I did test that guy out. I got all the sound samples on that. I got to do basically the unboxing and what on it, and finish off that portion of it. But yeah, I got all the sound samples for the Dayton audio sub, and yeah. All right, enough talking here. I guess. Well, I'm gonna talk a little more, but anyway, getting ready to wrap this up. Alrighty. So, Dayton audio, huh? How about that? I don't know what you guys are thinking, but I'll tell you what I'm thinking. They're hard to rate. I spent some time thinking about how I'm going to rate this, because of your use case scenario and because of their potential and because of what they are out of the box and what they can become. Yeah, I'm having a hard time with it. I really am. But I think I've dialed it down. Hopefully I've shown you everything you never wanted to know about speakers, but no, really, this was worth it. I'm glad I took the measurements. I am unfortunately out of time. I got to install these tomorrow, so I got no more times to run any more tests, and I would like to do a few more things. But yeah, the before and after the modification, you've seen those test results. I can tell you it makes a nice improvement in the way they sound. With some digital EQ, man, you can get them almost ruler flat. And they need it. They need it. But once you do that, modify them, the little bit of show and tell that I showed and told you, EQ them flat. I mean, ain't nobody's going to have a hard time sitting down and listening to them. You're not going to get no real bass out of them unless you get some of that boundary reinforcement, that kind of thing. So you got to get them up against a wall. If you have them pretty much the way I showed and told, if you do them like that, they're going to surprise you. They really will. I mean, they surprised me anyway. When I was running some of the frequency sweeps, I mean, I don't remember off the top of my head how low these were going, but I was running a 20 to 20. That's how I was running that sweep. I played them full range. I know what the specs said, but yeah, I want to find out what they really do. and these things were digging. They were digging. I think they were hitting 45 hertz reasonably well. And I'll tell you what, when I was running the sweeps, they was shaking my walls a bit. Things were rattling in here a little bit. But the point is, they were doing it. They were, they got some. They got a little kick to them. These AMT tweeters. I mean, that's just. I'm not saying these are good ones. Clearly, they have some issues, but I still think a bad AMT is better than any of the mid-range little dome tweeters, especially the metal ones. I don't care, the titanium and all that crap. Oh man, you want your ears to bleed, you go down that route. These have always been relatively tame from my experience, and I've got a fair bit of experience now with the AMTs. Becoming quickly my very favorite tweeter. I like silk domes and I love these. So yeah, between those two, I don't know. I think you get more I'm sure you get more detail out of these over a silk dome, but silk dome is, well, it's silky smooth. Anywho, yeah, the frequency response, it is what it is. The sound clips that you heard, it should go without saying, but I guess I got to say it anyway. Don't listen to that crap on the cell phone. You can't hear nothing on that, right? Use a proper home theater system. If you've got a 5.1, you'll get a feel for it that way. And of course, headphones. I use both, so pick your poison there. But it's just a crude representation of what these things truly sound like, because it's your equipment, it's your room, it's your listening apparatus and environment. It's totally different than this one. This room, this equipment that I used, you know what I mean? It's just the best guess, closest approximation I can show and tell you how these things truly sounded, how they truly work out. And I'll tell you what, it's just a hard one to rate though, because man, it's got it where it counts if you're willing to work with it. You gotta digitally EQ them, which is how I did it. Yeah, once you do that, oh man, they become a different story. They really do. I like them. So here's what I think how I figured out to break this down. If you're going to pull them out of the box and do nothing to them, put them on a bookshelf stand or something like that in the middle of your room, and no wall boundary reinforcement of any kind. If you're going to listen to them like that, I think I'm going to give them a 5. They don't sound all that good right out of the box. If you give them a lot of room to breathe, nah, they got no bass. You saw the acoustical measurements. You saw the dips in the hole. Well, there's holes in them, and you're going to hear it. It's just what it is. No, I mean I'm going to give them a 5. That's what they are. But then you do the same thing. Out of the box, get them up against a wall. Now you got some bass. Now the things are talking to you. It's a whole lot better. But, you still got those holes. The frequency response is kind of all over the map, and you're still going to hear it. But at least you're going to have some bass now. And, everybody likes that bass. I don't know why. It's just we all do. Yeah. Still, I mean, I'm going to give it a 5.5 up against a wall. Once you do the modifications that I showed, just seal them up and, stuff them like a teddy bear with polyfill. Once you do that to them, yeah, and then EQ them flat, I'm giving them a 6. It's still up against the wall, but they sound better everywhere. Just everywhere, they're much improved. So, yeah, between a 5 and a 6, that's where I want to rate them. But like I said, once you make these little mods to them, and even without that, you can EQ them flat, but there's still some ringing. You're going to want to spend the $2 or whatever it cost for polyfill and that gasket material. All that stuff's going to be in description down there, so that'll save you time in searching. I'll just put a link to all that stuff, make it easier for you guys. But yeah, once you spend a dime on them, they're pretty damn okay. They really are. I don't want to call them good because they're just on that borderline for me. but they can be good. You know what I mean? You got to work with them to get them there, but damn it, they'll go there. That's what I'm trying to get across here. I like that they're a 6-inch driver with such a small little box. It's like 12 inches tall, tiny little box. Now, if you're kind of on the fence, like I'm sure a lot of people are, you see these little satellite speakers. Oh yeah, they're so cute and adorable. They fit everywhere. They go with all kinds of decor. Yeah, and they're all trash. And this is my opinion, okay? But I've heard tons of them, and I hate all of them. They are little baby speakers, and they sound like it. If you want to hear sound, if you want to really hear it, you got to move the air. And, a little 3-inch speaker only moves, a little 3-inch speaker worth of air. 6-inch speakers moving 6-inch speaker worth of air. You know what I mean? You got to move that air to get that presence. And these things, my room is not very wide, so it's probably a crappy example for, a sound stage. But and I didn't measure it. But I'm just telling you what I heard, and you're going to hear the same thing. You're going to want to run them without the grill. You put the grill on, and they just kind of beam at you. The grill's crappy. It fits like crap too. See if you can see the gap in there. I mean, it's just, what do you want for a nickel? Yeah, I just take the grill off and chuck it. I would recommend just yeah, don't even waste your time with the grill. You're going to hear it. I mean, anybody's going to hear the difference. Big difference in sound stage with the grill on versus off. But man, you spend a little bit of time playing around with them, and they're pretty cool. If you wanted a fun project, I'll tell you what, the best way, I think, probably the most expensive way also, but the best way to get maximum performance out of these would be to make them 100% active. You can either do that individually per speaker with, an amp and a DSP, or you can use, a dedicated amp and then DSP it there and just, run multiple sets of wires. But yeah, bi-amp these and then, DSP them, make them 100% active. And there you go. That's, now you got complete control over each speaker individually, because that little crossover is a piece of crap. That's, there ain't nothing nice I can say about it. It just is what it just is. They spent literally 5 cents on that, joke of a crossover, and all they're doing are just blocking a little bass to that tweeter. But they play wide, they play loud. Man, they're really freaking okay. That's how I'm breaking it down. So, all right, I think I've said everything I need to say. Hopefully I've shown everything, that you guys really care about. I wanted to get into it without, getting, too far going on them, but, yeah, they were worth the money, especially with what I can get out of them digitally, with some EQ. My father-in-law, he's going to love them. And, again, bigger speakers, more sound, more filling, filling a room. These little baby things, no, they just don't. I mean, again, that's my opinion, but, it's still fact. Can't break these laws of physics here. Big speaker move more air. Little speaker move little air. Yeah, that's just the way it breaks down. So, yeah, I think it's going to work great in a home theater. And if I've learned anything in my years of playing around with these things, well, not these, but speakers in general, is the more speakers you have, the more gooder it sounds. That's just the way it is. You got problems with your rooms. Everybody has problems with their rooms. I got major problems with this rooms. I got treatment all over the place. You know what fixed it the quickest and the best way I've found to fix it? Add more speakers. That's just how it broke down. More speakers, more gooder. This is just going to be a 5.1, and I'm going to do the subwoofer review next, but I have everything measured. And yeah, so do the subscribes, the thumbs, the bells, whistles, that whole song and dance routine. And yeah, because I'm going to do the subwoofer thing next. So yeah, I'm going to try, because like I said, tomorrow I'm going to install these. I'm going to try to do a short and sweet show and tell once they're finally in their final resting place. Just to give you an idea what that looks and sounds like. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to try. I don't know if I don't know how they're gonna feel about me recording their environment, but if they don't mind me doing it, I'm gonna do it. So, all right, that's gonna wrap this one up. I hope you found this helpful, maybe a little entertaining, or you know, whatever. Just do the, you know, this thing and the ding ding bells and all that crap. And hey, all right, we're gonna see you in the next one. All right, hey, thanks for hanging out. Cheers.